A Discord bot is the absolute best first project you can make when starting out code. And it's something worth revisiting from time to time. Here is why you should make your own. I recommend that if you're just looking at this video and curious about learning code, that you make yourself a Discord bot. First of all, who am I? I am currently a student in high school and a junior. However, I have been a Discord bot developer for about 3 years since I was in freshman year of high school. I also have a Discord server with the link in the description, and also started off my adventures and career in code by making Discord bots. Since then, I have moved on to other things and other ventures of code, but I still stand by the fact that a Discord bot is the best starting project and even mid-tier or upper mid-tier project you can possibly make. Next thing though, why are you looking at a VTuber? The simple answer to that is I did not want to record and gather a bunch of footage for this video. That's about it. Disclaimers before I begin. If you want to make a Discord bot, you are going to have to be willing to learn. Although I would like to flat out say do not copy and paste, a lot of code is building on what others have created in the past, so the general disclaimer is going to be do not copy and paste without learning. As I've said, this is the best starter project, so why is it the best starter project? One of the biggest reasons I use certain things like Unity as a game engine instead of a smaller game engine is resources. Making a Discord bot, especially in node.js, there are a million, and I mean a million of resources to get you started, whether you know how to write one line of code or whether you are an absolute expert. The first one, as far as I know, is a bit newer in popularity, but it's something I quite often use when needing to brush up on stuff for Discord.js. Discord.js is the library you will be using if you're going to make a node.js Discord bot, and this website, discordjs.guide, is absolutely filled to the brim with the information you will need. Beyond that, if you want a simpler approach, there are a million YouTube videos, including my own, as to how to get started with making a Discord bot, although keep in mind some like mine or others might be outdated for earlier versions of Discord.js and might not always be current to the exact version. There are also, since you're making a Discord bot, a million Discord servers that can help you start out or help you if you have problems or if you want to do something and don't know how to go about it. One, for example, would be my Discord server. It's a smaller Discord server, but we still have plenty of people coming to ask for help. The next reason why I think this is a great starter project is it has amazing documentation. Discord.js has clear examples and is very clean. That cannot be said about most libraries. Libraries are just code that's already been written for you that you can interact with. And I've experienced a lot of libraries where I don't know what I'm doing just because the documentation isn't that good. I have never found that problem with Discord.js and have never in my time found a better set of documentation. Sure, documentation isn't going to help you learn just by reading it, but if you ever need to figure out something or find a small error or something like that, it can help out. And reading documentation is a skill within itself, and something I feel like Discord.js helps you practice very well. A Discord bot can either be a very short project. I've written Discord bots in 30 minutes for a very small task, but I've also spent before months on Discord bots. Some short projects might take a week. Some longer projects that exist out there, like Pokecord or Me6, might take much, much longer and might be continuous projects that you work on for years to come. Here, though, are some of the concrete things you will learn if you start off with a Discord bot. The first is node.js. Node.js is a language that's used very frequently and is very powerful. If you're ever going into the web development world or making applications, you will most likely need to dabble in Node.js. So, although if you're going through the traditional coding experience, it's probably not the first thing you should learn, but it will teach you the basics, so when moving on from it, you won't have a tough time. Simple Discord bots are built almost entirely off if-else chains. If-else chains are the fundamental of code, and my first bot, Fuzzbot, was built basically exclusively with if-else statements. Eventually, I moved on to a mid-tier project, and even moved on to an upper mid-tier project with Fuzzbot. But to start off, all you really need to know is how to do an if-else statement, and that's about it. The next is that you will learn how to interact with a library and not just build your own code. You physically cannot build everything in the world. In the real world, you have things like factories, and the libraries to some extent are the machines that make building something a lot easier. And the nice thing about Discord.js is it's just that. You only need Discord.js as a starting library. The final reason you should make this as a beginner project is that eventually, if you ever want people to use your bot, you'll need to market it. This is obviously a little bit more of an abstract idea and not necessarily a coding idea, but everyone wants to make a Discord bot with the purpose of sharing it with friends or even the wider world, and you will pick up a few of the basics of how to market an idea by making your own Discord bot and sharing it with other people. Say you have completed your first Discord bot, you have a starting tier Discord bot. You've learned the basics of if-else chains, you've learned the basics of code. And next you want a good mid-tier project. At this point, there's many more options in a Discord.js bot, but I still feel like it's a good mid-tier project because if you want to ever go into the web designer application world, you will need to know these 3 skills that a mid-tier Discord.js bot will teach you. The first is how to make API calls. Say you wanted to make Pokecord again. To do that, you could use the Poke API. An API is just data that's stored on a server that's not your own. If you ever want to make a call to that API, you can say, hey, API, please give me your data, and it'll run processes on their servers and then return to you the data. This can be used, for example, to make an entire Pokemon game within Discord. The next is, eventually you might want to store people's data, like for example levels if you want to make a leveling bot. To do that, you're going to need to learn how to use a database. There are many different databases out there, but some of the best out there are SQL-based databases such as MySQL or SQLite, and also MongoDB, which is what I use most frequently. The final skill you're going to learn is how to quickly prototype something. Sometimes you just have an idea, and you want to try it out without fully committing to a project. Making a quick prototype that can gauge whether other people or you want to continue this project is extremely useful. Making a lot of smaller Discord or mid-tier Discord bots is a good way to learn how to quickly prototype things, especially in Node.js. Is this a good upper mid-tier project? I think it's at the very least a decent one. At this point, there are many different things you can do, and a Discord bot is just one out of many things you could try. But if you really enjoy making Discord bots like I do, you can make something like I did. I made a bot that is no longer working because of the newer versions and because I just don't maintain it, which has a couple different things. It has a custom API, which, although it's a small API, it uses other libraries besides Discord.js, like Express, to have its own custom API. Beyond that, it has a web dashboard much like Me6. Although nowhere near as complicated, it is something I decided to prototype and try out to see if I wanted to continue with the project. Say you are at the point I was maybe a year ago. You just created what you might think is your final Discord bot, something that has its own custom API, web dashboard, and you've learned everything from if-else statements to API calls to other things in between, such as for loops, classes, structures, things like that. Now is the real question of, do you really want to continue? At this point, you get into complex long-term projects. Where a Discord bot becomes a little bit more complicated with this is that if you want to make a complex long-term project, you're going to have to keep a couple things in mind. One, you're making a Discord bot. Because of that, you're limited in what you can do. But that can actually also be pretty useful to some people. If you ever want to limit your scope so you can actually create something that is very specialized, then yes, making a Discord bot might be a good long-term complex project for you. But there's another thing with long-term complex projects that you're going to have to keep in mind. If you ever want to monetize your project and make money off of it, which I'm not saying you have to, a lot of Discord bots, even big ones, are completely self-funded and don't ask for money and don't make any money. But there are really not many ways to make money off a Discord bot because you can't really run ads and stuff like that. So you could do something along the lines of Me6 and ask for money in order to have more advanced features, or you can make money off donations. Although probably not the most stable thing, if this is a hobbyist project, it will cover the costs of things like hosting. The final thing I want to touch on before I conclude is that I've been talking about Discord bots in node.js using discord.js this entire time. There are other libraries you can use to make Discord bots. For example, discord.py is a Python-based library for you to make your Discord bots. The biggest advantage I can think of using Python instead of discord.js is you'll learn Python. In my opinion, Python is, although very different and used for different purposes, I feel like Python is more useful as a first language to learn over node.js. Beyond that, if you ever want to go into the very high tiers of projects, having access to the different libraries that are built in Python might be very useful. For example, say you wanted to make the coolest Discord bot ever, and I've had this idea before, but not necessarily the knowledge or time to go about it. But say you wanted to make a bot that collected people's messages and tried using AI methods like TensorFlow to create your own Discord user. That may have completely gone over your head, but that's something you can't really do using node.js, but is something that's much more feasible using Python. However, it comes at a cost. And this cost is pretty substantial, and why I made this video, and most people make videos, focused around discord.js. And that is that Python has less resources available on the internet, and also more complex documentation. The amount of resources and the simplicity of the documentation is why I recommend using discord.js and node.js. To completely go in the opposite end is why I would not recommend using Python to make your first Discord bot. In this video, I have covered everything from why this should be your first project to why it might even be a project you will continue in a long-term way. I recommend that if you're just looking at this video and curious about learning code, that you make yourself a Discord bot. Because it's really not that hard once you get into it, and the more you learn, the easier it becomes. Coding can be really fun and also really challenging at times, but it is something that you do need to sometimes just take the plunge into to learn. Because of that, this should be your first project. If you like this video, please subscribe, like, comment, do all that, and also join the Discord server in the description. That server is full of resources for helping you start a Discord bot or for helping you with errors you may come across. In the meantime, let's hope the next video doesn't take a couple months, and I shall see you all then.